àti tó wá gbé ó tó wá gbé gbé yòyòyò gbé yòyòyò kó wá ó ní mo gbé yòyòyò ìyá jọjọ ẹ lóbi ọ̀nà kan náà wà kúrò bí ẹ kánú nyẹ lẹ nà ìyá gbẹlẹ dàpọ̀ àwọn tó owó nọ́lá bí ẹ yòyòyò kàdé wù yòyòyò lọ́njà gbẹ gbẹlẹ ó yéyé àti ọ̀gbẹ́ tó gbé ìyá.
Good evening, folks. Samson to Labro Pub Radio. I want to thank all of you again for listening, tuning in to Libram Public Radio. Thank you, thank you. We appreciate it. Samson tour again this evening. We are not having the group stuff here tonight. Mr. So is out, of course. He's on assignment, and for some reason, we're not able to reach Mr. George yet. Hopefully, he will join us here very shortly. Good evening, folks. Samson Tour again. Safety, safety, Lord Jesus. We want to thank you again this evening for bringing us together. Lord, we ask you to continue to protect us, my Lord, only through you. The power that you pour over us, the protection that you have over us, get us to be here. My Lord, we want to thank you. We want to thank you for your continued blessing. We ask you to continue to bless the two tables that I've always talked about. Table back here in the diaspora and the table back home as well. Lord, you give us the opportunity and we're here to do whatever it is that you want us to do. We will continue to feed the two tables because of the blessing and opportunity you have provided for us. Lord Jesus, we ask you to bless the Republic of Liberia. We ask you to bless the leaders, give them wisdom, my Lord. Let them do good. Let them do what is right for the country. My Lord Jesus, we ask you to bless the host country, the United States of America. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Let's go on. Okay, folks, Samson told Libram Public Radio, as I say ahead. So I'm going to be here by myself tonight because I'm not able to reach the rest of the crew here. So good evening, Mr. Dole. That is the professor, the doctor, the medical doctor, all the doctor degree. That's Dr. WEAH Dole. He's with us here tonight. Thank you, my brother. Look, I'm going to make it short tonight. It's not going to be that much of an issue, but there's a few things I want to talk about here tonight, folks. And just bear with me here as I go through. I'm getting away from certain program that I'm very much comfortable and used to. And this program that I'm using right now. It's not that difficult, but it's time consuming. Whereas the other program of easily I can just breeze through, and that's much more connected. It's much more powerful. It's much more a program that you can do a lot of things in. But I'm making my way on this here. I'm making my way on this. So I want to thank all of you. Please just bear with us as we do the best here tonight. I'm going to be discussing a couple of issues here tonight. And I hope that the people on both sides of the aisle, whatever thing you believe, what I'm saying, whether you agree with me or not, the fact that I would do it with respect, as I've always stated, on this platform, my show, I will criticize the government, whoever is in my criticism sphere, I will do so. But I will do so with responsibility. I will do so with respect. I'm not going to come here and degrade or trying to because certain thing is in my interest. Therefore, I will try to go all out to protect that. If whoever is in my interest, whatever interest that I have, if that person is doing something that is not of a good nature for the country of Liberia, I will speak up. Because why? It is not about me and it is not about that person either. It is about the Republic of Liberia, our beloved country, and for which many of you will be coming on here tonight again to watch. We want to appreciate it. Let me go on here. Let me first of all turn this on. So the issue tonight is, first of all, what's going on with this CPP, my people? What is happening with them? What's actually happening with the CPP? I don't understand it. I don't understand it because I really don't understand it. Okay, look above me there, and that is the former chairman, Cummings, Honorable Cummings. But quite recently, this is what is really getting to me. Okay, and let me see if I can put a bigger picture of Cummings up here. Okay, you can't see me now. That's fine. You can't see me. That's okay. Let's see if I can do what I can do to get it going here. But you can't see me. That's fine. You don't have to see me. You don't need to see me anyway. But that's coming right there. You can hear me. That's fine. You can hear me. You see, this is the what I consider the drawback of this program. All the other program, the most powerful and sophisticated program that we use here all of the time. I will be able to manipulate this picture and my picture showing the same thing. But this is it for me. This is the drawback of this program. But that's okay. It's not about me. Quite recently, the CPP were able to put up. Let me put that picture there as well, and then we can go on with that. Quite recently, let's see. Okay, here we go. These are the collaborating political parties leaders. A few months back, Honorable Comey was then the chairman of CPP, and now the political leader of Liberty Party is now chairman of CPP. However, quite recently, okay, Mr. Josh, is Mr. Josh, can you hear me? Let me bring in Mr. Josh here quickly, then I'll come back to these people. Yeah, okay. Mr. Josh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let me talk about this here. Then I know tonight it's going to be firework between you and myself. And please don't draw back. Give it to me as much as you can. And I know you because I know you don't shoot blank. You shoot straight. And I expect that of you tonight. Let's have a serious conversation. Then the reason why I'm not afraid of asking you to truly engage me tonight because you would do it with respect because that's all you have been doing and I will do it with respect. However, we're going to disagree on many things. I know that for a fact because the subject matter that I'm talking about here is going to be very much in play here tonight. But let me just go on. Just bear with me, Mr. So these are the folks. So quite recently, Bernard Ure wrote the current chairman. And in that letter, Bernard Ure used some real colorful language to describe the behavior where he suspect where people going around trying to alter the current document that brought them together. However, the chairman, my understanding, have accepted the letter and in good faith she's also have agreed to do the investigation. But this is what I'm going to go with tonight. I'm glad that we're having these conversations now because if these kinds of things have happened 2022, ending of 2022, beginning 2023, this election would have been given to Dr. WEAH and CDC. But I'm glad that we're having this conversation tonight. So the chairman accepted the Bernard Ure letter, and according to reports, she then decided she was going to go ahead and do an investigation. So the fact that she's going to be doing an investigation, which is what you expect, but what I think is, and this is what I've been preaching all along. Comey is just like Samuel Tuer. They're very smart, very intelligent. In the process, they become condescending to whoever they face them without them even realizing that they're being rude and condescending. Comey now jumped into the process, which I thought was disrespectful. Truly was disrespectful. Comey behavior, what I'm being reading, if it is true, then it's disrespectful. Because the chairman, even though, and Comey has to be very careful. Either you come in and say, I want to be part of this process, or you get out. So that, but right now, if you guys cannot make it, Mr. George, that's my view tonight. If they can't make it to stay together, it's better to have it split now. And then those that are going to remain, and if they feel it necessary to come together, they will come together. By the time the election process starts, the ability to be strong will be there. Comey, according to report, has jumped into it now, telling the chairman to be careful. Not to drag, I'm just paraphrasing it, but not to drag the CPP in the mud through based on rumors that Mr. Ure have, without calling names. He's Comey should have known better because his Kumi was once serving in this position. Let the young lady who is the chairperson, it means by you coming out making this kind of ridiculous statement that I attributed to you, then that means you have no faith in the CPP business. So I'm saying to Kumi and his people, get out if you have no respect. If you can't come in and accept whatever it is that all of you supposed to do, get out. Nobody tie you around. You can get up tomorrow and say, I don't want to be part of this thing, and you'll be gone. But for you now to bring, the chairman has the case before her. She has not even done anything out of a certain. This is in I'm not a lawyer, but in court of law, what do you say this is? Westnet tempering. He's tempering with the Westnets. So why would he do that? Without realizing that he's been very disrespectful to the chairman. And this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable because this is ridiculous. Mr. Josh, am I on the right track or not? Please. No, why you said no, Mr. Josh? Why did you say no?
On track.
Okay, give it to me.
I have not seen the post.
Your audio is low, Mr. Josh.
Let me see. Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better.
Now I have not seen the post or the letter or the comment. But from what you're saying, it's just a suggestion to the chairman. Be careful before you drag the entire city into a mud. He's not saying anything insulting. It's just a suggestion. Just how you definitely said you really had a right to ask the chairman using all the colorful languages. You didn't complain about that. You said it was okay. Comey has the right to comment on it. All he's doing is suggesting to the chairman, be careful how you handle this matter. That's all.
Mr. Josh, like I said, you and I are going to go back and forth on this here tonight. So please interrupt me anytime you want.
Yeah.
And I will let you have it. Please.
You talk about wasting the tempering. It's not wasting the tempering because Comey had not told anybody not to speak to the chairman. What you really wrote in the mail allegation, he did not mention anybody's name. So it's not wasting the tempering.
Mr. Josh, fine, that's fine. You can. I say I'm not a lawyer. I'm just trying to equate that with it. But here's my point: if the Benin Ayure wrote a letter full of language that I would not use, languages all over this place.
Yes.
However, submitted that letter to the chairperson.
Yeah.
The chairperson is now in charge of whatever issue that they're facing.
Right.
Coming then, as somebody who is the leader, one of the leaders, yes, he has no business trying to advise the chairman.
He's not advising, that's for suggesting.
Why will you even come out and make suggestion? Was it suggestion? Was Kumi's suggestion asked? People asking to make.
He's the leader of a political party too. Just how you just said, everybody got a right. Benin Ayure, I asked the other day, did he call the 4 political parties in the conference, the leadership, to ask them before writing letter? No.
So my point, Mr. Judge, I understand that you argued that last week, and I threw it out of I hit it out of the ballpark. Even the professor, the good professor, was able to help me throw it out of the ballpark. So you bringing it up here tonight again, it's not holding no water.
No. I'm just saying, Mr. Boakai, Mr. Cummins, Yuri, Yomli Kanta, any leader in our organization have the right to comment, to make a suggestion to the leader if there's a complaint launched. If Mr. Cummins would have said, do not listen, do not inquire about this complaint, then it's a different thing. But all he's suggesting, be careful how you handle this complaint.
Mr. Josh.
Yeah.
Mr. Josh, if Kumi is not a slash, Kumi is not somebody who you consider Johnny come lately. Kumi is not that. Kumi ran for the presidency, full flesh.
Yeah.
Kumi headed one of the larger company in the world, Coca-Cola.
Yes.
Kumi is not a small young man. Kumi is very, very intelligent. Kumi has the ability to lead. We
Yes.
all know that. My point to you, Mr. Josh, is this. And I'm hoping that you will agree with me on this one, even though with your center right, your center right view, it's not gonna convince this liberal here tonight. And the fact that you have no helper here tonight, your far right is no longer here with us tonight. So it just mano. And so just be ready for the liberal tonight. On a very serious note, Mr. Josh, Kumi, by you coming out and making this comment. Kumi calls on CPP chair to be mindful of allegation intended to invoke Akurin. Now, why is Kumi? Nobody asked him to be the lawyer.
He's not a lawyer, Mr.
No, Mr. George. Let's look at it a little bit. This case, if you want to call it as such, has already been turned over to CPP chairperson.
Yes.
What Kumi has done here. In fact, let me be more ridiculous. What Kumi has done here is to manipulate the system and to intimidate the entire leadership of CPP. Because if you're going to come out to say, be careful, what is that? Why should I be careful?
Because you know what happened? Why Kumi is suggesting be careful, Mr. Toe. Look, put this thing on the table. You got plenty of children. One of them complain. Say something is missing in the hostel. Papa, I want you to investigate. Your wife come and say, Toe, be careful how you investigate this complaint. Is she interfering? She only suggesting to you, be careful. Because here is the thing here, Liberia. Rumor spread like wildfire. Mr. Ure had made his allegation. I don't know what proof, whatever he got, he had made this kind of allegation. Not just simple allegation, but grave with the kind of languages he used. Coming, being part of the system, say, Madam Chairman, I'm not saying you should not investigate, but be careful. That's all Coming say. If Coming would have said that, do not call no witness, or do not look at this complaint, then I would be so okay. Then Coming is one of money that may Coming got something to hide. But all he's saying to the chairman, be careful. Now, you don't know what information Coming has. I don't know what evidence or Ure has. So what we said now, we should look at the chairman. It's just a guardian suggestion that Coming is making to her. He's not telling us don't talk to anybody that name call. No. If he would have said, oh, we're not, if you call, we're not participating, then that's something different. But that statement, it is true. All he admonished him to be careful.
Mr. Josh, Josh, you're not even trying to convince me. And I know that's not your job. You're not here to convince me. You're here to put out your own view. And I respect that. But let me
convince you. So what am I doing? When you said, oh, your mind is made up. So I can't.
No, my mind is not made up yet. My mind is made. My mind is made up on the fact that Comey is trying to interfere.
No.
And those are my own words. Yeah,
if Comey was not a leader within the CPP, then I would surmise that okay, yeah, he tried to interfere. But he's a leader. The same on right that Ben now you really had to go and write a letter with.
But let me push back. Let me push back on you a little bit. A few nights ago, you were on the same platform.
Yes.
And in fact, you just started out here tonight, where you continue to ask the question. The Benada Ure called the other leaders and complained to them. Now, let's turn the same question around. They're coming, even if this kinds of accusation, if it's irritating, which I think it was to Comey, the Comey even tried to talk to the rest of the leaders and say, what's going on here? Let's have the discussion.
No, then Comey will be interfering.
Okay, all right. But this is what I'm saying.
Hold on there.
Yeah,
if
okay.
Asking the people to come for them to meet, someone will say then, what you hiding in the public? Let it be out there So the only thing the committee can do is to offer a suggestion to say, hey, Madam Chair, be careful. How do you investigate this allegation? That's all he's saying. But if he goes to work and say, Mr. Ure, Mr. Bogai, Madam Yombe Kanga, you sit there and talk this thing, people will suspect him that he is the one that had done something wrong. That's why they want to go close door now.
Listen here, and I'm quoting from the paper here, from Page Africa, that is, and this is these are the comments they attributed to Comey. Given Comey speaking, then, given that Benina accused no one directly, he's thereby unfairly accuses everyone indirectly.
Of course.
Now, back in the days when I was growing up in the barracks, when you go play bray, and you know your bray have been found, or your heart want to jump out of your chest.
Yeah,
the first thing you do is say, but why are you playing fucking name? I say, but wait a minute, you got something to how? Then they'll come and stop. This is what I think. Me have coming here and doing poo, pa, poo, pa, poo. That's how I see it. That's how I see it.
Let me ask you now. Who are the people in the CPP that are clothed with the authority to utter or to correct any document? It got to be the leaders and executive member of that institution. So if Benina really making such a statement, the first people that people will look at is Ure, Boakai, Yomli, and Cummings before they go to the secretariat. Those are the 4 people are going to look at right away. And so what Benina Ure, that he indicted the whole body. He indicted the whole body.
Mr. Center Right.
But he did not call anybody any specific. He said there are some people. So that means the entire institution that what Benina have indicted. Get that?
Mr. Center Right. Listen, I still don't agree with you. Comey has no business putting his foot in his mouth on this one here. Yes, he did. Yes, what I'm saying this.
The person that put a foot in the mouth is Benina Ure. He's not going to produce all FM gun.
Well, that's what. That's fine. I'll give it to you. But this is what I thought would have happened. Benina Ure, according to you, is a troublemaker. That's the language you have used to describe my future political leader.
Inside, as a person I know him, he's not that kind of person, but politics is a different thing. When it comes to politics,
you're talking about troublemaker in terms of politics.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. I agree that. Thank you for clarifying that, because many of us was like, what's that? But anyway, besides that, Mr. Center Right, let me tell you this. Coming into this, what I thought would have happened, Benina Ure comes out and make this accusation.
Yeah.
Without naming anyone. It could be Baka, it could be anybody else, even including the current chairperson.
Yeah.
Now, what I thought would have happened was to give the chance to the chairman. Let him do the investigation. And if nothing happened, Benina Ure would have been exposed tremendously. He would have been exposed big time. And Benina Ure position would have been weakened, to be honest with you. Because if he had been exposed as someone who's trying to foment conflict within the CPP, then I think people will distance themselves from him. But what Comey has done here, in a sense, and you might not agree with me because your view are always center right. What Comey has done here, in a sense, have given cover to Benina Ure. No. Because now Benina Ure, even if this thing turned against him, he will point to Cummings' involvement to say, because he manipulated the system, because he intimidated the people who were doing the investigation. That's why this thing turned around against me. What say you, Mr. George?
That's the Labour view. But what Comey did was just a mere comment to the chairman. He did not say, you don't have the power, or if you call me, I will not come. Or if you call anybody from my party to come and testify, they will not come. He didn't say that. He just told her, hey, it's just a guy. It's just putting her on her guard that be careful. Because you know Liberia. Mr. Toh, you know Liberia. We know Liberia, how people can stir up things in Liberia. We know it. So all Comey is telling her, Madam Chairman, be careful as you investigate. He said, don't investigate. No. If Comey would have gone beyond that, use any word of threat to her, it would have been a different thing. He said nothing like that. Mr. Ure will not specific.
Let me read on. Let me read on.
Read on.
Let me read on, Mr. Josh. Coming again, according to him. According to him, using CPP's time and resources to launch an investigation without any lead will be inappropriate. Coming speaking. We cannot and must not run the CPP on the mere gossip and rumors. Mr. Josh, Mr. Josh,
Yes.
Kumi is supposed to be a leader.
He is.
Okay, yes, but he's very condescending.
He's not.
You see. Let me get off my cocktail so that the light can shine on your podcast tonight. Can you hear me, Mr. Josh? Okay, folks. Mr. Josh is Mr. Josh. Are you with me? I think because I'm sitting on my cocktail. Mr. Josh, are you with me? Okay.
Yeah,
all right. Okay. All right. Let me remove you a little bit. When you come back, we'll bring you back on. Okay. So, Mr. Josh will be joining us here. But I'm sitting on my cocktail. Folks, as you know, these things, Gab, they are very powerful. And the liberal view here tonight, and he, Mr. Josh, who is a center right, trying to dislodge me from my position. So I sit on the cocktail. He has no more light. How do you dig that? He's coming back on, folks. But I'm gonna, as you see now, I'm no longer sitting on the cocktail. So we're gonna see Mr. Josh coming back on. The light is on now. Mr. Josh, are you with me? Okay, let me add Mr. George. Yeah. I'm no longer sitting on my cocktail because you tried to dislodge me from my position, and so I sat on the cocktail from Total, but I'm no longer sitting on it. Let's go.
That is not the long Chinese light. This is an American made light. You'll come right.
the long Chinese light. When he came here, he left that light with you, huh?
No.
Oh my goodness, folks. As Samson told Labropa Radio, I'm here again this evening with Mr. George. Evans George is here and we're having fun. But on a very serious note, Mr. George, I think, to be honest with you, I'm glad that all of these things are happening now to COP. Because if they hold together with all of the rumor rolls, if they hold together, they will be stronger and they will definitely defeat the CDC. The only issue that I have, to be honest with you, the only issue that I have with this coming interview is the fact that I think he's been condescending. I think he's intimidating the process. In this process, I think he's been intimidating the people, and I also think he's been disrespectful. The same position. He was once a chairperson. If these kinds of cases have been turned or brought to Cummings, none of these leaders were asked to say, be careful. They won't say that. They will not say, the question then is, if these two people don't like each other, why will you even try to have some sort of a collaboration? You can't, this thing, you can't fake it. You either agree on ideas for you to come together or you don't. You can't fake these kinds of stuff.
Mr. So, if you go to the genesis of this thing, it was Benina Ure that started attacking Commonwealth from day one. And that's what I said before. I said, Commissioner going there because Benina Ure, for some reason, I don't know his ego or personality issue between him coming from day one. He started attacking commies. And today, that rivalry or whatever still continues. But what I'm saying here is that the statement Cummings is making, because Mr. Toe, we all know you and myself doing something or we are doing something. We know what we're doing. We know the document we have. And all of a sudden, I just come out and write a scathing letter accusing every one of you people. That also can irritate other people. But what Cummings is saying, at the end of the day, now let me use a hypothetical. Suppose this investigation turned out to be negative. You have consumed time, resources for nothing. Energy, everything you have put in there, just waste of time. So what I believe, or what I think, this allegation, there are two things. Mr. Ure, he got down to contempt with. His credibility is on the line. That is the first thing. His credibility, he has put his credibility on the line based on the letter he wrote. So I believe maybe he got strong evidence.
But in this, in Mr. Josh,
listen, one, if that letter turned out to be false, then Mr. Ure position will be weakened, his credibility will be weakened. If it turned out to be true, anybody that involved, whether Cummings or Blanca or Yomley, their credibility too will be weakened. And the political standing will be weakened also. So this thing we see here, it is that background that Cummings is suggesting to the chair, be careful how you investigate this thing here.
Mr. Josh,
Resources,
Mr. Josh,
yeah,
Mr. Center Right. Let me just and like, you're trying your best, and I give you some point here. But let me just say this to you, as a liberal, I just don't agree with it, because what Cummings has done, not only as I stated before, let me name some of the things that I'm accusing Cummings of. I have no proof whatsoever. Accusation, you want to say whatever you want to say. I'm accusing Cummings of being condescending to the entire CPP. I'm accusing excuse me?
What's the language that he used that you think is condescending? What language?
By he interjecting, telling people to be careful. Why should he careful of what? Are they in danger? But let me make my point. Let me make my point. Let me make my point. Mr. So, I didn't tell you to run away. Your buddy is here tonight. I feel bad for him because I'm going to be careful with him as well, because you're not here to help him. So, but don't sit behind there and write all these things. You can write what you want to write. It's not going to help you. But let me make my point.
In the time, would I be person that said that they can dance? So the person that can dance in the time, he said, I can dance, I can sing. The person said, man can sing. So you pressing yourself?
Mr. George, why you want to cut my legs down now? Why you want to cut me to a size here today? Because I think I believe that I'm having the upper hand, and let me say so. And but anyway, he's coming out here, right? But let me just say this. Like I said, I'm accusing him of condescending. I'm accusing him of manipulating the system. I'm accusing him of witness tempering. I'm also accusing him of intimidation. Now, here's some of the things that I thought Cummings has done with this interview here. He has elevated the thing to the point where it shouldn't have been. I believe when we had a conversation the other day, Mr. George, I couldn't say much because my hand was tied completely. Bernard Ure letter cut me off guard because I didn't think he was going to do that. So I was not quite prepared for that.
Yeah.
However, what I thought would have happened was this. Okay, Bernard Ure going to take CPP, all their dirty laundry, and take it into public.
Yeah.
Now, let the chairperson do the investigation. If Bernard Ure, if it turns out that he's wrong, if Cummings have not intervened, if Bernard Ure feel, if it turned out that he's wrong, he would have been exposed, and his, like you correct yesterday, his credibility would have been going down the drain. But this is what Cummings has done. I believe with Cummings' involvement, he has shielded Bernard Ure. He has now, Bernard Ure could use Cummings now as an umbrella, because either way it turned out, if Bernard Ure does not get what he's looking for, whatever it is, and the investigation turns nothing out, what Bernard Ure and his people are going to say? Cummings interjected himself in there, and Cummings manipulated the system, and Cummings brought all kinds of stuff, and that's why it turned against them.
You know what
you said then?
You know what happened? Let me tell you what will happen. And take it from me. But now you will tell the chairman or the investigators, for the sake of peace, you will not disclose the source or the sources of those information. That's what Benina Euro will say. And that's what I'm saying. That would be his problem. Because the complaint he made, very serious. So those who told him, they must be willing to come and prove and bring the document. Not just in here, you have to produce a document to show that the document was altered. So that's a serious problem. And I agree with you one point that it's not coming to elevated this thing to that level. Fine. Because if he remain quiet, it will be some kumaya, as you all call it. They don't leave it in house. So let him add flame to the fire. So now you can produce those people and the document to show that the document was altered by whom and how it happened. So those people must come to testify to the investigator, to the chairman.
Mr. George.
Come. So the whole issue is not coming. If he said tampering, mean that he did something to do so. He didn't stop anybody to not go and talk to the chairman. No, he didn't say so. All he gave his candid opinion. And every leader, in the CCP, they said they are head of the political institution, so they can comment on anything. Nothing is off limit. So Benina Yure had the right to come and write a scathing report accusing everybody. Fine. It's not for me to have the right to say, hey, this is my view. He's not saying nobody should not answer to the chairman. No, he didn't say so. So the whole issue of Benina, this letter, Benina, he's the one brought the devil also. So now the devil, they can't scream the devil naked also, but they got to make sure that devil is controlled.
Mr. George, I hate to bust your bubble. What Comey has done, like you correctly stated, putting fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
What I'm going to just to remind you that Tobacco is no longer VP and he has no control of the fire brigade in Liberia. He brought the trucks in and helped Liberia to get all of the fire brigade truck. But that is not in his. So if you're asking Comey and you're saying that Comey should put fuel to this fire, who's going to put it out? That's besides the point, Mr. George. That's besides the point. This is what I think will happen. You just give me your prediction. Let me give you mine as well. And then you will see the liberal has a real good view and good handle on all of these things here. Like that's why all three of you always, when it comes to the liberal, I'm always the counterweight. And let me prove that to you. This is what's going to happen. With all of these coming meddling into this issue here, as far as I'm concerned.
He's not.
Well, Mr. George, Comey has no right. He has no business. The case is before Mr. George.
Let me ask you the question. Comey has no business.
Well, I take that back. He has the right. Comey has the right.
What right Bureau has to complain?
Excuse me?
If Comey has no business, then what right Bureau has?
No, well, let me take that back. Comey has the right. Okay. He has the right, but he has no business in this anymore. Now, what I think will happen, like I said, let me make my prediction. Benedict Ure, when this case is taken seriously, that it's supposed to be, Benedict Ure, in order to stop all of the choo in the organization, Benedict Ure must name those people who brought the information to him.
Yes,
because if it is credible, if this information are credible, like he said, then he will not hesitate to name these people, and then these people will come to be collaborating collaborating witnesses for Benedict Ure.
Not just the name, not just the documents.
Yes, yes.
So the document must be produced to show the authorization.
Yes, yes. Okay, Mr. Judge. As you know, I have another topic here that I want to discuss, which happens to be the ruling party and corruption in Liberia. I'm not too sure whether you read that letter that from the investor.
Yeah, I glanced
Okay.
at it.
It was very riveting. I mean, the letter. Marvin, Marvin, Mr. Moore, I'm Mr. Moore. You're not the judge, Mr. Moore. You're not the judge to say who won the debate and who didn't win it because you're already taking side with Mr. Center Right. Anyway, I've been watching you, Mr. Moore. Whenever the liberal speaks, you're not on board with the liberal. So I think your view as center right or far right as well. So, Mr. Moore, yeah, please, you're not going to make any judgment here. Why is it? Okay, we'll take that later. Okay, so let's go on, Mr. George.
Yeah.
The issue with the current government, the sitting government, and corruption in its reign. The first thing is the court, the criminal court C or whatever they call themselves, deny the government the right to bar people who they suspect of economic sabotage or whatever it is to leave. The court said if you want that, you're going to have to file. And if you file the charges against these people, then we can enforce that. But you have nothing on books. You haven't filed anything, and you want people to not to be moving around. They're free citizens just like you. They can go and come anytime. I know you read that. But this is what I want also to look at tonight. Folks, Samson told LeBron Pabrito, this is what I want us to look at tonight. This lady,
Yeah.
Judge, this lady was suspended by the president, and she's not just your everyday Johnny Khan lately. She's well connected, and she's the coordinator for special projects in Liberia. Special projects, not your role project coming from where coming from public work, none of those kinds of, but projects that involve many international community project that involve investor from outside Liberia. She's the one that coordinates those projects. But the issue then is the question that I ask is then this lady, her name, Madam
Keita.
Martina L. Keita.
Yeah.
Okay. And Madam Keita, who was a special project coordinator in the office of the president, Mr. George. And she was suspended today because they believe that she had to do with the bribe asking for $5 million.
Yeah.
Another new organization also connected that process with Tua and McGill, but I think any kinds of thing in order for them to court, for them to have credibility or thinking they're gonna have credibility, they must involve McGill and Tua so that people would read it. So I'm not paying too much stock into that because according to the letter, the investor themselves said McGill was not involved and nor was Tua involved. These were people that were affected.
But it involved. You think the investor called her name knowing the player this boy?
Excuse me?
I said the investors. If you implicate Samuel and Mange, you think you'll get a way out?
Well, I'm not gonna because I'm not gonna go that far. I'm not gonna leap from the Empire State Building here tonight because according to what we have, information that we're reading here, Samuel Toy and McGill, according to the investor who wrote the letter, a scathing letter and riveting letter as well. People were, I was glued to it, and that letter explained a lot, But the question that I have tonight, Mr. Center Right, is this.
Yes.
Do you think that Dr. WEAH is quite ready and on board to fight corruption in Liberia?
No.
Why are you saying no? Mr. George, the president just suspended his friend because of alleged allegation, that is alleged.
Yes.
corruption. And
Yeah.
then you're going to come out outright without you even hesitating or beating any around, and you're just going to say, no, Mr. George?
Yes.
Why you say that?
Let me say this. What is happening in Liberia on every level of government is always selective. If the interest is not involved, what we say, look at that, someone want to double cross you. So that person will be the lamb you sacrifice. Why am I saying this? Do you remember the Hudson case, the National Hudson Authority case?
Yeah.
Where is that case today? When
Mr. George, you see, you can't, no, Mr. George, this is what I want you to stay away from. Mr. George, I want you to, you can't say this didn't, okay, go ahead.
I want to lay my premise.
Okay, go ahead.
No. There's just one case. When person we are cursing went to him that I have brought investors from Burkina Faso that want to build 100,000 horses in this country. But the time Mange and Apple were trying to extract money from these people. What person we did? He locked his cousin up for 10 days. The young man had to escape the country. Who name was mentioned that time Mange's in order? So, fast forward. LPRC, when the gas was started hit Liberia, President fire the deputy managing director for operation and order immediate investigation and should make full restitution. Where is that case today? Zero. And fee that the Mustafa was fired immediately. They say he turned over for prosecution. The last time I saw that Mustafa on TV talking, he doing his work somewhere else. So this woman now in question now alleged that she asked for $5 million bribery, alleged bribery, $5 million in the office of the president. The only reason, one I will give you, this woman maybe she was too greedy, she alone wanted to eat. She double crossed her bosses. So now she's being used as a lamb. A person, we are a serious to fight corruption. What happened at the port, Buchanan Port the other day? It says some guys that told him 25,000 from Metal C and YFU, and the government want to prosecute them. The people left the country. That's why I'm saying selective. If I may use the word selective prosecution, one or two persons that if you see this thing come out, I mean the door across the bosses. So they will teach you, oh, you think you man, you woman, you want to eat your one, you'll bear the weight. And this is what's happening.
Mr. Josh, I'm being very quiet here.
Aye.
Mr. George, I'm being very quiet here, not because your words piercing me and they're so truthful that I'm unable to respond.
Just tell me what I said.
No, Mr. George. My point is not about lie or falsifying or whatever. The point that I'm trying to make here, and I want you to get this, is this. I think you people are very good at that. You try to equate what has happened in the past to the present. And I think if you do that in a court of law, you will be defeated. No, because the issue, Mr. John,
that's what they call precedent.
Yeah, but
that's what they call started disasters. You make reference to all cases to make the new case.
Yes, but you make reference to all cases that have already been decided. You can't make reference to all cases that are still outstanding.
Those cases have not yet been decided. I just reminding you. I gave you a sequence of.
But that doesn't mean by you see, this is the logic. Those of you that are considered to be center right and far right that you guys have. This is the logic and it's flawed, to be honest with you. You can't, no, in order for you to hold past cases as a means of presenting new case and trying to build based on past, the case themselves must be resolved. Having had it resolved, you can now say this is an example. But you can't use an example of a case that is still outstanding, of a case that is still in the judiciary system, of a case that people are still fighting to win, Mr. George. And now you're going to come here, and because of that, you're going to say, Mr. George, you're gonna come here because of your ideas, your far center right idea. You believe the case because they've still not been resolved, and therefore this. Mr. George, let's give it to the president of the Republic of Liberia. He's fighting a corruption.
I'm fighting, Mr. Toad. Let me tell you this. You have a court established in Liberia to fast track criminal cases, according to the government. There's a special code there, criminal code, to fast track corrupt cases. Why send this special code to power? All these alleged allegations of mismanagement, corruption in the government, people being accused. Why they have not fast tracked these cases? Why?
Mr. George.
Why are you paying these people? And the idea for you to come to say here that what I made reference to these cases, how you think people prepare the report on a year when the year comes to an end? How you think the other country prepare the report or the government makes the report? They cite all the cases. How many corrupt cases governments took on? How many cases they solved? How many convictions? How much money was paid? All these things will have to be part of the record. So,
I hate to bust your bubble, Mr. George. Why you, Mr. George? Let me just say this: why you and your people continue to fight losing battle? Because here's the thing, the president and his people can tout that in the international community we're fighting corruption. For example, they would say the same case that you're making reference to. They would make reference to those cases. And Mr. George, can I finish? And the fact that the cases are ongoing. First of all, there's a saying, they say justice. It's a wheel. No, hold on. You can't put words in my mouth. You cannot put words in my mouth. But I know that's what you people do. You and Mr. So and the rest of the far right conservative like for people like us, the liberal, to speak, and you want to put words in our mouth. But you know this liberal is not going to work. Yes, what people say. Justice wheels moves, but moves slowly. It doesn't mean that justice deny. It doesn't mean that the justice system is not working. Mr. George, what you need to understand is this. The judicial system in Liberia is functioning. You might not agree with the slow pace of whatever is doing, but the judicial system in Liberia is functioning. You can characterize it whatever you want. You have the right to do that. What I would say to you, and I submit to you, Mr. George, that the judicial system in Liberia is functioning. Now, the fact that the president, let's get back to the case, Mr. George. Let's get back.
Effective.
The effectiveness of the judicial system. It is not me or you to make the definitive a conclusion on that.
We make the determination about cases that they have resolved.
Yes, I agree with you. However, the cases that have been brought before the justices. They have to go through them. You don't expect them to just say, oh, okay, no, Mr. Judge, let me finish my statement, please, if you don't mind. You don't want the justice to say, okay, well, just say we slow. Oh, the case, yeah, okay, guilty. Oh, the case, yeah. No, they go through it because they are law involved. People rights as citizens of the Republic of Liberia must be respected. And so they're taking their time. Due diligence is being applied here. As a result of that, the people are looking at things meticulously to make sure these things come out the way they're supposed to be. Now, let's go back to the issue at hand. I say to you, Mr. George, I submit to you, Mr. George, and honestly, I want to say to you this evening that this president, the mere fact that he can look at a close friend and say you're on suspension publicly. If the president wanted to hide, if the president wanted these things to go unnoticed, he would have called the lady, please take vacation. And nobody would have known that. But the president decided to make it public. You know what? You know what? Let me just say this here, then you can come in place if you don't mind. We can sit here and cry, blah, blah, blah. But if you're not careful, these kinds of things will hand the election to Dr. WEAH. Why am I saying that? Why am I saying that? The issue of corruption, what the president has done, is all on the newspaper, all over the world. The international community has been seeing it, that the president suspended somebody who was close to him because of corrupt behavior. They're not going to say, they're going to bring out other cases, but just my argument is that these cases takes time and they are in the system and they understand that. So why can't we give the deference to the president of the Republic of Liberia? We're going to this lashing. I agree with you. But please, if the president is doing something that is a little bit of our interest, let's give him that.
You know, you labor, let me tell you this. When a snake bites you, you see your dead worm, you run from it. President WEAH, he is sentenced to power. I have not seen one case, corrupt case, that this government had handled to the end. Every allegations, he suspend people, that's it. The only reason I can tell you this woman case is on all people because she did not get certain people involved. She wanted to eat her share alone. And this is the price she will be paying if the allegation is true. Because this is just a mere allegation. So I don't want to take it to say, oh, the woman was corrupt or she's corrupt. It's an allegation. But for this woman in the person of to be suspended to be someone on big news, no. How many reports are not come up about allegations against people in the WEAH government? Cabinet minister, deputy ministers, directors have been accused. But you can suspend people. That's good thing. But they have not been prosecuted. Why they say a special court, using the word a special court to try criminal cases? Why they name it special? To fast track cases. But they were able to fast track Brandon Samoka case. They were able to fast track Brandon Samoka case. This is why I'm saying selective prosecution. If it happens that they don't like you, you are not a major player in the government, you got no big brother, they will put you up there. But when you have connection, then you get special treatment. Professional treatment, you get special treatment. And this, how many persons we're talking about? There's one need to be on the air, that's all. That's all. All the other people, alleged people, what has happened to them? And then less of people, they say, oh, I'm going back to the well. No. This year, passport director, what happened? They said the man stole, they took the man, the government went with jury case. Then they said the man are criminal. The man are criminal, you cannot prosecute him, you go to court, you fail up to show up. As government to prosecute someone, you fail to show up, to prosecute the private. Then the court release the man. Then you say the men are criminal. Are you very serious? Someone who stole thousands of passports? The United States government got documents on it. And you, the government, are like people say you want to fight corruption. You cannot prosecute that person. You took the man to court, failed to show up. The court released the man. Are these people serious to fight corruption? Yes. Front page can carry it. The people are not stupid. The us are not stupid. They will read. Then they go back. They say, but wait now. Look at all the cases. Why they are not prosecuting people when they're one person? Someone with my son, I was thinking something went somewhere wrong. And this is what I'm saying. A person, we are serious. All the alleged people that they are suspended in his government, they fast track them to court. Why they can't fast track people to the court? Only one person. Today,
Mr. Josh, listen.
I name you people, and I just see it's not in Astra. I gave you name of area that people.
I understand all of these things, but let me throw another. Let me
ask you now. But the president coming to this will suspend this woman for one corruption case. So is that one that will give me will put me on an impression that the president is serious to fight corruption?
Mr. Josh,
you got a report right there. What happened to the current report?
Mr. Josh, you're just gonna party on. You're just gonna party on.
You said that put a direct report also. The report got right on desk there. The crowd report came. They named his ministers today. Then he said the president said his own committee. The committee submitted report to the president. He said now what happened today? The Noka report, they gave it to him. He said now only today. So is this woman now? I'm gonna come out yelling, George, you want to fight corruption. Oh, I'm
Mr. George.
I'm
perhaps you, and I know you're very smart, and I know you know Liberian history, and you know much about Liberia than any other person I would say that. But I want you to please remember, you're talking about fast track cases in the court and what have you. You know we have 3 branches of government in Liberia. And please don't come back and tell me say one branch is dominating the rest of it. I'm not going to accept that. On paper, we know we have 3 branches of government in Liberia.
Yeah.
And each of the branches of government has a responsibility to function in the country. Agreed so far?
Yeah.
So if we have the lawmakers, we have the judiciary, we have the executive. And if the executive is bringing cases against individuals who they consider to be corrupt individual in their administration. If they're bringing cases against these people, if they think that these people are economic sabotage, and they're bringing cases against them, do you want the executive to be executive and judiciary at the same time?
No.
They take the cake. No, Mr. Josh, I'll give you time. Just give me time. And we'll wait here. The liberal is not going to run away from you. So please, don't attempt that. Because first of all, the 2 of your bodies, they are not here tonight. So I continue to drink water. And because you're going to drink water all night, I'm on you. I'm not giving up. And I will make you to drink more water. So please fill that glass because you're going to drink a lot of water. Now, Mr. Josh, the government, the executive, their job in their own executive branch, they find these people who they consider to be corrupt. And Mr. George, these people are winning. They are winning because they say to the Liberian people, our job is to expose. And not only to expose, but we're taking them to court. You want me to fight corruption? I can't be a judge, a jury, an executioner. I can't do that. My job is to expose and say, these are the people, the police, the investigator. We say, go to court. Once the case gets in the court, it is no longer the responsibility of the executive. So if, for some reason, whatever accusation you have, of the fast track and the case that's slow and what have you, selective justice and what have you, Mr. Josh, you can say all of that, but I'm not going to accept it because each of these government functionalities have their own responsibility. And so if the executive have exposed these people and taking them to court, and the court is not able to function properly according to you, why were you tied, George, Dr. WEAH around this thing? He has nothing to do with it.
No, let me say, you done?
Yeah. For now.
Let me say this. Especially all criminal cases, it starts with the executive, that is the police. All criminal cases start with the police. The police investigate in collaboration with the Solicitor General. Police will do the preliminary. So this is the final Solicitor General guy say, okay, ask the question, okay, this do they and bring it back because at the end of the Solicitor General now is one to go to court to defend the Republic of Liberia. So it is the responsibility of the Solicitor General, the Minister of Justice, to make sure every criminal cases that come that the government is representing is taken to court and follow it to conclusion. Corruption cases in Liberia, they say they got a special court, criminal court. That court was set up to try to speed up corruption cases especially not any other thing, corrupt cases. So that court has a responsibility. The executive cannot force the court. Every court has a term of court. Every term of court. So if the case go to court, they say this is the March term. Their case will be here during the March term. That case has been assigned, except for some extraordinary reason that they will say, nature of the case, we have to speed it up to go maybe to the Supreme Court. So these things have been, that's how it works. But the executive has not come up to tell the Liberian people, hey, these cases is, the court is the one that don't want to try the cases. They have not seen it. So why you want me to go to the court and say you're not doing your job? So these are the issues. If the Chief Justice himself can admit the court has a power fine, but the Minister of Justice, they had not come up with the cases and say, look, this is what's happening, so we cannot try the cases. And here's the saddest thing. High-profile cases, if it goes to the court, the Minister of Justice, there should be an obligation to brief the Liberian people on the status of the cases so the Liberian people can say, hey, we know what this case is because the government is giving an update. But the Minister of Justice failed to do those things. Even if the case is stored in court for some legal reason, it's a high-profile case, they must come up to tell the Liberian people why this case is at this point. But they are not doing it. And you expect me to say, oh, the court wants the Minister of Justice. No. Civil cases are not for the Minister of Justice. All criminal cases. That is, if you steal from the Liberian government, I mean, the Minister of Justice is the one to represent the Republic of Liberia. If you kill anybody, that person killed, their father now become the Minister of Justice, the Republic of Liberia. They have to come and represent you. So if they go to court and things are not moving forward, they have the responsibility to take it to the public, to tell them why these things are stalled, what the government can do. Because at the end of the day, it is the WEAH government that will be accused of not trying these cases. It's not the Minister of Justice. It's not the Chief Justice. No, it's the WEAH government. So I am
well, Mr. Josh, like I said, I'm not a lawyer, but I do my best. I hold my own when it comes to that. But I'm a common sense person, and I don't agree with you because the executive expose these cases, and the cases are taken to the system.
Try that case to a conclusion, not just expose it.
Mr. George, you cannot say the case to be tried to the conclusion. You don't know exactly why the cases are outstanding. We don't know that. Why do we have a backlog? First of all, Mr. George, let's go through this here. Since you bring
yes, the thing.
But yes, another part that we're leaving out.
Yeah,
the legislation, who are then supposed to be the people with the okay, drink some more water. The liberal is getting ready for you. The legislation, who are supposed to be some of the people, they are supposed to be the one to give out the money that will help to the judges in other places that will help them to carry out the judicial system correctly. They're not giving the money. Number one. But let me ask you this. Let me throw another controversial issue at you here. Do you think this president, Dr. WEAH, do you think he's a dictator?
No.
From your own definition of dictator.
No.
Do you think he's not? But do you think he has a tendency? He has any kinds of dictatorial tendency in him?
I would not want to say so.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, let's check that. Let's check that. Queen is checked. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. Do you think that this government, in terms of security of the nation, do you think they're doing a good job?
Good job would be relative.
Mr. Joyce, please don't give me Semitic stuff tonight. Give me. Do you think? I asked you a specific question.
Mr. Todd, don't do that. You asked a person where I was a dictator. I said no.
Okay.
You didn't have a problem with that.
No, because you didn't try to hang it up there. I'm asking you. I asked you a simple question. Okay. All right, we're here to discuss.
So, Mr. Todd, if I told you that the security of the country is 100%, then I got to be lying to you. It's not 100%. Let me
give us some clarification on that, please, if you don't mind.
because you went to bed last night and you woke up, it doesn't mean that you have security.
Mr. George, let me
Hold on.
repeat what you hold on. Let me repeat what you're saying. Let me
Yes.
just echo that, if you don't mind. Because you went to bed last night in a country and you woke up this morning does not mean you have security. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, let's get some clarification on that as well, please.
It's because, one, you're one of the luckiest person. Because your next door neighbor was armed robbed. There was a body found down the street. Is that you call that, oh, I have security?
So when you say those kinds of stuff, you're trying to tell us and you're telling everybody that these things are nightly occurring. Is that what you're saying?
Hold on, if not nightly occurring, last week they found a little body. I don't know what I showed you. I seen that video of the body was lying at the street. They don't know who even killed her. And Mr. Toll, why you want to come ask the question? You saw 4 auditors was killed like on the street. Nobody know today. 3 young men got missing. Nobody can give account of them. They're just in the city, in the counties. People start from one another. I think Bass or the other day, or Rivers or somewhere. Somebody start all the area. You wake up every day, there's somebody being killed or body found somewhere.
What let me push you. I agree with you, but let me push you. What are the contributing factors? Mr. George, I'm gonna push you as much as I can here tonight because I want you to drink as much water as possible. Fill that glass. What are the contributing factors you think? From your perspective, everything you say here from your own perspective.
Now let me just end myself now. I'll come to what are the factors. Look at your borders. Your own government said the borders are poorest border in West Africa. Now they tell you. The government said admit to that. The army, 5 million people. I think they say the army is around 3,000 men. When you travel from Monrovia to Kakatan, how many policemen do you see on the road? How many policemen you got stationed in Harper? When civilians got mad, they overran the police station. Stay true. The full mentioned they overran those things. No police. Is that security? No. It's just the matter of the people. It's not security. But people go to bed, they wake up every night, they say, oh yeah, we are secure. No. It's just a matter of time. And you can see the evidence I just gave you. Now, you say, what is responsible? There are many factors responsible. But let me just give you a few. One, let me go back a little bit. We came from a civil war. Most people were not demobilized. That alone is a problem. Then, the unemployment rate, no jobs. When there's no job, when the time becomes high, people will get into the dividend move. So people tend to improvise. When the time becomes high, the country high, people will start doing extraordinary things to survive. And that can get people involved in all kinds of criminal activities. There's nothing much to distract the youth from that kind of behavior, to say these are education programs, these are sport programs that they were engaged in to deter them from not going that side. These are the fighters. Then come in drugs. Look at the last time the drugs that the DA were buying cocaine coming from Nigeria. Nigeria doesn't produce cocaine. We don't have, it's not being produced there. But you see the amount of illicit drugs that come into the country. That is another factor for the crime rate in Liberia. You got people who are taking these drugs, going hard to do terrible things. And someone want to run out of money to buy the drugs. The next thing is to go out to break into people's homes. So there are so many factors that are responsible for the growing crime rate in Liberia is not just one indicator, but
Okay.
those are some of the few things that I named to you.
Okay. All right, Mr. George, I'm going to be opening up the line here very shortly. Now that you are giving me all the reason, I'm giving you the opportunity here tonight because like I said, this liberal is not moving anywhere. He's not going anywhere. So now that you are giving us the what you believe are the contributing factor, what are some of the fixes?
Hey, now, Mr. To, let me tell you, let me give you another example. If we talk about proper security, why think people don't stay late in Liberia after 12 o'clock in the street? Why you think so? If there's total security, why you think many people don't stay in the street by 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, everybody rushing to get home? Because fear. There's a fear in the people. Don't let nobody fool you, Mr. Toad. Don't let nobody convince you. In a country that have security, that when the citizens feel that they are secure, you don't have to tell them to leave the street. They'll be in the street. But because people are always in fear, but they put this posture of that, oh, everything is right. No, it's not. Because these are signs you will see. If you left from here today, now I can tell you, if you went to Accra, Mr. Toh, you get Accra tonight, Toh, I get to Accra, you will see people all in the place, in the kingdom, everybody, they are moving. You can see that, okay, that will give you some sense that, okay, the security in this fighting is okay, but if people can be walking up in the street by this time, then that means okay. But like by 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, everybody rushing to go home. I know some people say, oh, nightclubs are open. The nightclubs are open are for special people who are mobile, most of them mobile or late in a particular segment of the time, they go to hang around there. If you are not mobile, leave from there. You can't leave from across the bridge to say you can hang out in Oro. No way. After 12 o'clock, what will you get a car to bring you home? So these are some of the factors that I can tell people the security of this country is normal.
All right. Okay, folks, that's the voice of Mr. Emil George, LPR, strong contributor and analyst. I call him the central right because I don't agree with him on many issues. So, folks, give us a call here tonight and see if you can help us straighten us up. So, Mr. George, before we're waiting for the phone calls, and I put the number out there already, folks, the number is 916-533-2040. Mr. George, are you against this government? Are you for this government? Let me answer the call here, and hopefully you'll be able to hear me as well. Samson to LeBron Public Radio. What's your name? Where you're calling from?
Samson to. This is Lodi. But they not calling from Cedar Rabbit.
Okay, Mr. George, can you hear him?
Yeah, I hear him loud and clear.
All right, go ahead.
You can hear me. Thank you for having me as your first caller always. But Judge, in that letter, I want to ask you, and I want you to be honest to me. Did Benenda Ure mention Alexander Cummings' name?
No.
If you answer my question, then I'll go further to say what I want to say.
I said no. Did you hear me?
Judge,
did you hear him? Did you hear him? He said no. Did you hear him?
He did not mention anybody.
Did he say no?
Yeah, he said no. You didn't hear him?
No, I never heard him.
I said
okay. Let me go on to say what I want to say.
Anybody name?
And the second thing, did you listen to Darius DeLong this morning at OKFM?
No. No.
He said no as well.
So, okay, thank you very much. Thank you for answering the two questions that I asked you. You see, I said it in the last time on your show. I told you of the panelists that time trap is not for rat alone, it's for everybody. We should hold on to what we have in our real God and see how far these investigations will go on the 25th, because it has been set up already to investigate. Darius DeLong came up today on OKFM. You can go and do the replay and say, I'm quoting directly from Darius DeLong. and said, I don't know why my friend Musa Belete is doing this. With Liberty Party document. Me, I don't like to speak the big English. It was touched.
Musa Belete, yeah?
Some portions of the document, it was erased and they put something there. Let me put it the simplest Liberian English way. Now, you see, whistleblower always come out in every organization. Mr. Ure is one person that don't just sit there and see wrong thing happening in Liberia. He will come out to speak. Then when he speaks, people will say, oh, he's a troublemaker. He's not a troublemaker. He's a very decent
Hold on, Mr. Judge, he can't hear you.
Okay.
The phone is connected, but he can't hear you. Go ahead.
Mr. Ure is not a troublemaker. If something happening in the organization or in our country, when somebody come out and say it, you don't wait, let the investigation come on to do, or let the people investigate. When they investigate and this man information is not correct, then we start hanging on him and say, what you doing in the organization is not good. This is why I want to say this evening, Mr. To.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Mr. George, you heard that. Go ahead, make your comment.
Yes, I know he'll be listening. But tonight we never spoke about Musa Belete. We spoke about Cummins Ure. And so my comment had not been towards Musa Belete or Daros Dillon because that's not a discussion. But let me just say this, what he's saying, he made reference to Benina Ure. That Benina Ure speaks the truth and this and that. But the question I want to ask him is that when last he realized Benina Ure speak the truth, did Benina Ure ever come out to say or to condemn the action of Charles Taylor or the role he played during that crisis? So you say Benina Ure is so honest. Has he ever come up to speak about the atrocity that were caused by Charles Taylor and the people of Liberia? Say he's an honest person. Has he ever spoken about that? So why you come out to say this man is an honest person? He always speaks the truth about the Liberian people. Well, it is your belief. But
let me ask you this other doozy one here, Mr. Josh. And the reason I'm asking you already, you and I are supposed to have a serious discussion here, but I'm giving you a reprieve here. So okay, let me answer this one here. Samson told Liberian Public Radio, what's your name? Where you're calling from? What's on your mind?
Yeah, Mr. To, I was just listening to Pat Judge. Pat Judge, let me tell you something. Liberia's civil war, as I said always, it was a senseless war. It was a senseless and baseless war in Liberia. We kill one another. We cannot put blame on somebody. But then Ure was in Sierra Leone. He came and crossed over to NPSL. He said it during the investigation. All of us, where were you during the war? Were you not in Liberia or were you not here? We have to put that blame on somebody alone.
Okay.
Come on now.
All right.
Come on.
Okay. Thank you.
Come on.
Thank you. All right, Mr. George, you can take that or leave it, and we can move on.
Look, I would just
okay. All right. Let me ask you this question.
What I talk, I don't base my thing on sentiment.
Yeah,
you don't know
okay.
the Ure. You don't know the Ure.
Okay.
You don't know
but you say you're not going to go into that. Just leave it as that. Let me ask you this question then.
Mm-hmm.
We got George WEAH.
Yeah.
We got Joseph Barker.
Mm-hmm.
We got Alexander Cummings.
Yeah.
We got Benina Ure.
Yeah.
We have the Liberty Party chairperson, Madame Lawrence.
Yeah.
Who do you think have the ability to lead the country the way you think the country should be led?
I will not comment on that tonight.
Huh?
I will not comment on that tonight.
You will not do that tonight?
No.
When will you do that?
At the appropriate time, I will.
But do you already have somebody in mind?
Not really yet. I'm still.
You're still making that judgment.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I try to evaluate these people
Fair enough. If you have the opportunity, to advise Dr. WEAH with the 2 or 3 years that is left, what are some of the major advice that will be impactful to the Liberian lives that perhaps you would want to give to the president?
Mr. Toh, there are one or two things that people look up to the leaders, especially countries like Liberia. Number one thing now in Liberia, job. Because that's the only way they look to improve their lives.
So the president gets your point. You want him to create job for the Liberian people.
Yeah.
And perhaps obviously that is not being done.
This is not he creating job, but create the atmosphere.
What are some of the means that perhaps you have in mind that will allow the president to create an atmosphere for job creation? What are some of the suggestions you would give?
But wait now, you're not paying me why? You see, you're not paying me why that consultancy.
Mr. George, we're talking about Liberia. You're Liberian.
Look, Mr. So here's the thing here.
No, but you can't advocate for the Liberian people, and then you want to hide some of the best suggestions that will improve the lives of the Liberian people. Why do you want to do that?
Let me say this to you. The president, when I mean for him to create the government does not create a job. But the government must create the atmosphere that will attract local and foreign investors into your country.
How? I want you to give me the how.
That is the thing. You must steady bring people, expertise, and ask them. Let them give you an opinion and advice. How do we attract foreign investors in this country? Let's look at country A, country B, what they did to attract investors into the country. That's the first thing. You must have that. When you have that, then you can start going around to ask people to come to what we call lower the people into your country. What will be tax, long-term tax break, long-term land lease for little or nothing, but they will create jobs that the people in the community will get something to do, and they will turn around to pay revenue in the government. Then you go that route. Agriculture. Every time we talk about agriculture. But how much money? What is it?
Let me take this call. Samson told Liberian Public Radio, what's your name? Where you're calling from? What's on your mind?
Good evening, Mr. Todd. This is Mr. Jackson. How are you?
Oh, good evening, Mr. Jackson. Thank you for joining us. Go ahead and make your statement, sir. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I've been following the program, but I have one issue, that I just wanted to make comment on.
Go ahead.
And it has to do with the issue of the letter that Belinda Yuri sent to Nyomri Kanga and then coming to respond.
Right.
My concern is the leadership within the CPP. Nyomri Kanga is now heading the leadership. At the same time, she is the leader for the Liberty Party.
Right.
There is an allegation that is coming from the Liberty Party, and I see allegation that is spreading over to the CPP as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes me to wonder, as to whether if you are a leader, if you have all these issues popping up on your leadership term, people begin to wonder, as to whether you will be able to hold a mantle of leadership under this, in case you will be leading Liberia, if you can tackle it. Nyomri Kanga is playing this leadership role.
But Mr. Jackson, before you move on, let me push you back on that. Then the flip side of that is, won't you be glad to have a leader on who leadership things are being exposed?
Well, that's the point I'm trying to drive at.
Okay.
You understand? Nyomri Kanga was, she's the head of Liberty Party. And then all of a sudden there's an issue, that a document had been authored, in Liberty Party. Now, it questioned me, where was the leader? That be friend. If you are the head in the office and that document that intimating your office to the outside world, and you telling me you don't know about it, I have a question as to how how is your leadership?
Okay.
Because if Liberty Party can make a constitution, and then they are saying that the constitution was altered, so they want to make sure that election commission should give the copy that they have. That makes me to wonder, where were you? Now the CP is paying over to CCP. The question now is, where are you coming from? You already have the CPP leadership for a couple of times. We never hear these things. Coming King, we never heard it. Now you are the leader. What is going on?
So so what are you driving at? I mean, give us
what I'm driving at is, how is her leadership? Is she able to control and under pressure, or is she being very debated, and listen to a certain group of people? That alone, it tints your leadership role. Because if you, as a leader, if you want to make sure that things work correctly, you have to make sure that you pay bonds within your party.
Well, but what? Let me say the other flip side. Now, you want a leader who is transparent?
That's what I'm talking about.
And won't you say that because of her transparency attitude, that all of these things are coming up now on her leadership?
I got a problem with that a little bit.
No, Mr. Johnson, I'm just giving you the other flip side of it. Go ahead.
Yeah, what I'm not against you being transparent. What I'm questioning is, saying, are you hard working enough, to be on top of these things? If things are emanating from your leadership plan,
of course, Mr. Jackson. No. If she was not hard working, then perhaps we won't be able to know these things. But because she's hard working on top of these things, that's why they're being exposed. Won't you not accept that?
Samson is ridiculous.
So how was it?
Hold on, Mr. Josh. Hold on, Mr. Josh. You get your turn so that Mr. Jackson will hear you. But right now he can't hear you. Go ahead, Mr. Jackson.
Yes. So how was the final document signed? Who signed it?
Well, but that is the issue of investigation. So let us wait. Let us wait. Let us don't pass judgment now until the investigation.
I'm not passing judgment.
I understand that.
That's a questionable fact. If you are the leader for a political party, now you are coming after several months that the party document was
Mr. Jackson, I don't think that you are neutral in this conversation here today. I believe strongly that you have already taken side, and so you're trying to give Mr. George a leeway. You're asking some serious leading question here tonight, Mr. Jackson.
I'm not giving George the edge over it, but what I'm understanding is, if you're the chief of security sitting at the gate and all the people pass, then after 2 years you say, oh no, we have a check now, then the question is, where were you?
Okay.
That's my concern.
Thank you.
That alone play in your leadership goals. So I want to leave it for Mr. George to expand on it.
Of course, you're leaving it for Mr. George to expand.
And we're going to see, okay. All right.
Like I said, Mr. Jackson, you are not a neutral person, and you ask not only asking leading question, but you make us to believe that your witness is a hostile witness, and therefore you are allowed to ask leading question. Of course, now here we go at the end, Mr. Jackson. You said now you're going to leave it, having had a can of worm open up. Now you're going to have Mr. George to expand on that. I've already know that you're taking side. I'm going to need some liberal to come and help me on this. Go ahead, Mr. Judge. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Jackson. We appreciate it.
All right.
Okay. And let me Mr. Jackson, he just lay out Mr. Judge. Go ahead. Expand on it if you can.
I'm going to propound on it. It brings to mind what the judgment on Yomlekana and Senator Dillon.
Oh, here we go. I knew it was coming.
They were the people that put this man as chairman. And I read it means that Yomlekana don't have control over the party. I heard people say, oh, they drafted it, and every time she asked the chairman, he said he would bring it.
But Mr. George, I want you to know one thing. The case is still being investigated. Nothing has been resolved.
Hold on. I said, that, listen, the case is being investigated, but what led to this investigation? It should not even be.
No, transparency.
Hold on.
Transparency.
Hold on. Don't tell me about transparency. Yomli Kanga is the political leader of the party. They had a convention. There was a draft document. And before that document being sent, it should have met her approval. And she sat down there, now using her authority to tell the chairman, Mr. Chairman, I want the document on my desk by tomorrow before it goes to the Election Commission. She didn't do it. That man, I have problem with her leadership. She should have amended that document to be put on her leader for final approval before the chairman sending it. Tell him, if you don't put it on my desk, you send it with all my approval, you are in trouble, because this is what the Constitution says. But she failed to do that. The document all was submitted.
Mr. George, I want you to know this. Liberty Party is, first of all, it's a transparent political party, number one. Second thing, Liberty Party is not a party of dictatorship.
It's not
Mr. George, you can't have the chair. You can't have the chairman doing things outside of the Constitution of Liberty Party, doing something outside of the norm of Liberty Party.
Mr. Todd, there's a framework. If the framework requires the ability, the chairman submit the final draft to the political leader for her approval before submitting it. It's not being dictatorship. That's not dictatorship. It's the rules that govern the institution. So you must adhere to it. But Yomli Kanga sat down there and allow ability to have his will. Secondly, Yomli Kanga answering the dilemma. How well did they vet this man to make it chairman of the party? This kind of attitude. So it brings the question, the credibility or the credibility of their leadership. It's not about transparency. It's what led to that point. What role did you play?
Okay, Mr. Josh, we'll try to leave it there, but I have one or two more questions for you, and then we're going to wrap it up here. The question that I have for you is, one, do you think the good days of Liberia is behind us, or you think it's still ahead of us? And what do you make of, because you also in social media, you also keep up with daily activities of Liberia here at home. What do you make of the young Liberians who perhaps will be the leader of tomorrow? Do you think they're prepared?
The first thing is, there's a brighter future for Liberia. I would never doubt my country. I would never doubt my country. There's a brighter future for Liberia. Just need the right people to move the country forward. That's all. But Liberia has a potential like any other country in the world. It's just that we are not getting the right people to stir the affairs of the country. That's why we stay lacking. But to tell anybody that, Liberia days are over, no, there are better days ahead for Liberians, for the country as a whole. Secondly, we are in a different age with social media. They have now become the way everybody communicates, old or young. But one thing I always say, and I continue.
Mr. Judge, hold on 1 minute. This guy been calling for, he'll be the last caller. Samson told Liberian Public Radio, what's your name and your conference? And please lower your monitor. It's really.
Okay. My name is Abraham.
Okay, all right. Okay, Abraham, go ahead, make a point. What's on your mind?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Toh. I've been listening to your platform. I've been listening to this email I deliver written right now. I just want to say this. You see, we Liberians, we always want new things. And I think the reason Liberia is still going down the drain is that after the First Republic, when Doe took over, it was the Second Republic. I think there was a lot of things that were supposed to be changed that did not change, because if you want change, you need to do other things to bring change to reality. That is to say, once we have the Second Republic, I think the leaders were supposed to put corruption to rest, and then the first thing was to evaluate our people, those who came after those took over, who took power with him. It was to make sure that corruption put to rest, because that was the main aim of we overthrowing the two-party government. And then after that, after he overthrew the two-party government, he felt that corruption was going to be minimized, because you cannot eradicate corruption. And from there, he too started. So after he started, his immediate lieutenants, he started to get rid of them. So this is what brought the third republic, which we in now. And I'm saying that the Liberian people right now, they are resolved. This means to say that, I will go back to the tip that Donald Trump's spiritual advisor, during the election, she said that either you vote for the angel or the devil. And I think that tip is still around. And so right now, what all the spiritual advisor to Donald Trump at the time said, this is what's going on right now. So I think the people of Liberia right now, they resolve. Because if you say something and it's happening, I think other people will sit and they will come to us and they will say, wow, this person said this and we did not go by it. So I think this is what's going on right now. So I don't care what people say about this Joseph Boakai or whosoever. I don't care what they do. Joseph Boakai will be the leader of that country. So thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Josh, go ahead and get home for us. So we got here. We got about less than 3 minutes.
The last issue with the young people today on social media.
Yeah. No. The question was, do you think the young people, and the reason I brought it social media, because I'm saying you also, just like me, I'm heavily involved in the social media to know about what is happening in our country, and you're very too much involved and know much about Liberia like any other person. The question that I was asking was, these young people that you have observed, do they have the capacity to lead Liberia and take Liberia to the better prospect land tomorrow?
Oh, yeah, Mr. Todd, there's no doubt. Look around you. Look at how many students in Morocco. Look at how many students in China. Look at how many students in India, the United States, Europe. There's potential, vast potential for Liberia. 10 years from now, most of the people will be going back home. You will have doctors, specialists will be going back home. Most of them will be going, and most of them will be contributing. Everybody that comes in will come with some different ideas. So there's a great potential for Liberia, and the young people. Now let me say this. Some of these very serious-minded people, they are not on social media. They are not on social media. It's we the one that make all the noise. But both of these people are concentrated in different areas. So the few that you see, the few young people and some of the old people you see on the people who seriously in the background, they are working very hard, studying very hard. to contribute to that country. So Liberia got a very, very bright future. The only thing is the leadership. Someone who will be able. Because let me say this, Mr. Every institution in the world, the leader is the one that moves those people. The leader. Don't say, oh, the people are not motivated. The leader is the one that motivates those people. The leader. Why sometimes you see they say, this rebel group, let me go to the West people, this rebel group. If you touch the leader, there'll be hell will break loose. So what they say, we'll work with that leader to try to see they can have control over the men. On the good side, look at Dr. King, Mahatma Gandhi, the Dalai Lama, these people, China, the father of the nation. What changed our country? It was because of leadership. It's not the people. The leadership stood up and said, hey, we got to move. That's what happened. We talk about Rwanda today. It was not the people. It was Kigali who stood up, introduced policy that you got to go by it. Today, Rwanda, there's no mud house in Rwanda. You think that just happened because someone was in Nigeria and told them, no. It was the leadership that set policy in place and said, we have to do this. Nkrumah, when he talked about building that Akasumo Dam, you think the people of Ghana are thinking about that thing? They were not thinking about it. Some people were telling what the man doing. But the man, that's a leader, far-sighted, looking ahead. So it comes back to the country. Only the leadership. And that is why somebody will ask, well, why does people want to be president, especially in Africa, even in America? Yeah, Joe Biden, have you seen? The first bill they're talking about, that $1 trillion bill, people are not talking about, that he's going to shift the country to a different level. So you see, that's why when people talk about leadership, well, everything they say the leader, yes, the leader must set the tone. Because when you set that tone, everybody will follow. In your house, if you tell the child, if you get the money, you don't speak to me, there's trouble. Everybody will say, if you don't speak to daddy, there will be trouble.
Okay.
The tone. But let me just close on the water. Talking about the agriculture, I didn't finish what I did. What the government need to engage in, you see, put the people together. Sometimes divide people by region, group, and say, this group will plan this. This group will plan this. And the government too. Must say, look, you know what happened? Every crop you go grow, we will buy it. We will create a store, we will buy it, and we'll buy the market price, but at the same time, we will sell it out there. So when you go in whatever crop you're going, don't worry. Yeah, but I will guess what? No, we're going to buy it from you. You do that, you empower the people, because they will say, hey, if you make this farm, by the time the farm ready to harvest, the people can buy it from you. You are motivating the people. The local businesses, small businesses are the Indian. Why not empower these people? Let them compete with the Lebanese people in the country. Let them compete with the Indian people. But if you don't do so, you can build a schoolhouse, you can build a hospital, you can build a road, but the people cannot feed themselves. They are hungry, no jobs. How those things going to be in team? Government partner with people. Don't just roll put a toll there. We don't have the money. People will create a job. Because there's a toll there, someone got to be there. Private people, look for these people that have you bring investor in. Build this thing, 20 years, 25 years, you get your money. We don't have the money.
Okay.
Great jobs.
All right. Mr. Josh, as usual, a very good spirited debate. I truly enjoyed myself again tonight. Mano. That was good. That was good. I always tell you needed Mr. So and the CDC professor to take on the liberal, but you don't. I think you have done a wonderful job here tonight, taking on the liberal without any equivocation whatsoever. You were quite ready as usual, and I appreciate it. So I want to take this time now to say thank you very much. We might not come back again until because I'd like to know I'm going to be out of town as well. And so, if we can, I'm going to Philadelphia, so we have another. There's a branch in Philadelphia, so maybe I can try to do something from there. And Mr. So is on an assignment, and you still have not gotten most of the tools to get your own going here. Hopefully, we'll try to encourage you because I think you have a lot that young Liberians and even old Liberians can learn from. So if you can get us to that position where you will be able to have your own platform, I think that will be very helpful so that you'll be able to bring these ideas up. I don't agree with them, but those are very interesting ideas, and I think they can be very helpful. So
Oh, look, these laborers.
I tell you. So I want to thank you very much for this evening. Thank you, Mr. George. I appreciate it.
Yeah, look, to our wonderful audience and to the management staff, hey, please, if I say anything, I didn't mean it to offend anybody. I'm just saying it in the name of love, like you please. So have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Again, folks, Samson to LeBron Pub Radio. We want to thank all of you for joining us this evening. It's been a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time. Let's do it again. Hopefully, we will. So where's the stuff? Okay. So please bear with me. Bear with me. Okay. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. Thank you, folks, and we're gonna play this music to take us home. Thank you, and we'll say good night to all of you. And if you don't see us, hopefully by next week we'll be back up here because Mr. So is on assignment. I'm also going on assignment, and so LPR. Well, most likely you might find us doing something somewhere. So we'll be around. I want to thank you very much, and we will say good day to you, and please join us again.
Around the water side, I love the fish, we get them every day. Benjamin, around the water side, love the fish, we get them every day. So if you wanna get your bunga fish, you better take a walk to the water side. So if you wanna get your bunga fish, you better